I'm Jace. I'm a music annotator, classical singer, and dancer, and today I am having a look at what is possibly the most requested video from my comments, ATEEZ on Killing Voice. This is a bit of a milestone for me. It's about a year since I uploaded my first analysis video, and this is the first group other than Stray Kids that I'm looking at. I do know ATEEZ relatively well. I've watched their Kingdom performances and I know quite a few of their songs, and they're also one of my brother's favorite K-pop groups. So I am familiar with them and I am familiar with their music, but I don't know everybody's names. I have got a cheat sheet, and fortunately for Killing Voice, they're standing in order and they stay in the same order, but ATEEZ, please be as nice to me as the stays have been. I've had a wonderful experience with them, and I hope that doing ATEEZ stuff, everybody will be as nice and as supportive and as forgiving of any silly little mistakes. Okay, I am thoroughly looking forward to this. Let's get going. Right.
What's up? What's up?
네,
딩고 what's up? What's
네.
up?
Mics
자,
at all
인사부터
of the different
드리겠습니다. 둘,
heights.
셋.
에이비소팀 안녕하세요, 에이티즈입니다.
네, 저희 에이티즈가 드디어 킬링 보이스에 나오게 되었는데요. 오늘 재밌는 곡들과 또 신곡까지 준비를 했으니까 기대 많이 해주시고.
Okay, the mics are a bit lower than ideal, but part of the thing with the mics is the way that the K-pop singers, the singers in general, usually use them. So they usually use a handheld with it, which they can put right up close to their face, or in the studio the mics tend to be suspended from above and they sing up to the mic. But these look like condenser mics, which is normal for this kind of thing, and a condenser mic is generally either cardioid or hypercardioid. So that means that it's directional and it doesn't record sound that comes from behind it, but it does record sound from what's in front of it. And that doesn't necessarily mean directly in front, but also slightly up, slightly down, and slightly to the sides. So they don't actually have to be hunching and bending over to the mic for it to pick up everything that they're singing. Stray Kids did it in theirs. These guys do it in their Killing Voice video. They hunch over and bend a little bit to get closer to the mic because that's where they're used to singing and more comfortable with singing. But there's another group that I've watched on Killing Voice that doesn't do that, which is EXO. They don't. They stand away from the mics and they just sing and let the mic do its job and pick them up, which I wonder if it's a matter of experience or not, because EXO has been in the business for a long time. But I don't know, we'll see.
그럼 시작해 보겠습니다. Let's go. Hey.
Mingy there with his guitar picking looks like it's
Let's
possibly
go.
bass.
매주매주의 섬을 찾아 follow us. Mississippi 강하를 건너 where we go. Care about that, we're fishy like 때로던 일속 파도가 칠속 파도.
Okay, right from the beginning there. The harmonies. So, this is something that ATEEZ does so well, is multiple part vocal harmony. And dare I say it, this is better than the album version, than the track, because it's more vocal heavy, the vocals are more forward in the mix. I personally really like that, and you can hear all the harmonies. Something that's fantastic about this harmony in this is that they don't just have the harmony on Follow Us and then repeat the same harmony for the next bit, but they have dum da 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 dum da 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 dum. Follow us. Dum dum bum bum. The harmony expands and grows into the next part. So you've got the normal line, then you've got the added harmony, and then you have an expanded harmony after that.
Hey. Let's go.
yeah, somewhere try to follow us. Mississippi gang, how to go, know where we go. Care about that, we're fish like that. The next one, the chest, the
바다를 향해 drink 나 던져버려 drink 이 순간을 즐겨 I know yeah feeling me 파도 안에 swing 더 정신없이 quick 넌 찾을 준비됐어 저 태양 아래 빛
저기 바다를 넘어 Just going on 지는 태양을 향해 갈 때
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about each member's vocals as I pick them up or as they do something interesting. In the beginning here, we have Mingyi, Yunho, and Hongjun. And it's a really interesting combination. Hongjun I want to talk about more specifically with what he does in Bouncy, which we'll get to. But the combination of the three of them, Hongjun and Yunho have a much smoother, brighter, and cleaner sound than Mingyi. Mingyi has the roughest and possibly the deepest vocals in the group, just where he's comfortable singing, not necessarily the deepest vocals, but the deepest comfortable range. He tends to prefer being lower down, and the contrast between the smooth, bright, clean vocals from Hongjun then going to Mingyi's gruff, deeper, more gravelly vocals, and switching then back again to Yunho, who also again has the cleaner, brighter vocals, is such a fantastic use of the contrasting textures and sounds of their voices.
멈추고 싶은 순간이 와도 머리 한 번으로 넘기고 외쳐
하쿠나 마타타야
더더 밀려와도
하쿠나 마타타
더더 밀려와도
I'll get to Seonghwa later.
파도를 넘어 네가 있는 곳에 난 또 서 있을게
내 손을 잡아 우리 둘이면 돼
거칠다면 거칠수록 좋아 우린 그 위선을 거니까 We're just going on 지금 이 순간이 우리의 파도라면 두려워 말고
Jongho's vocals. I am going to speak about Jongho and his vocals a lot during this video, because quite frankly, his voice is bloody impressive. He does something there that I really, really love, and that is he keeps a clean tone through most of the singing and then adds vibrato on to the end of the phrases as an effect. Adding vibrato at the end like that really adds emotion and feeling to a phrase. I am a classical singer. One of the things in classical singing is opera. I enjoy opera. I've sung opera. I still sing opera occasionally, but I am not a huge fan of overly broad vibrato and the overuse of it. I think vibrato can sometimes be too much. Okay, so going back to the beginning of that part.
잡아 내 손을 잡아 우리 둘이면 돼
거칠다면 거칠수록 좋아 우린 그 위선을 거니까 We're just going on 지금 이 순간이 우리의 파도라면 두려워 말고 더 긴 건 마주하기에 우리 태양 아래 누구보다 더 뜨거우니까 걱정하지 마 저기 파도를 넘어
Yeah, Jongho adds that little bit of vibrato at the end of this section there, which is great.
Wave.
어우 성화야 준비됐어?
Okay. What you gonna say?
Sit back and relax, man.
Don't you want about me? I got time, but it's not for you, bro. Don't you realize what I'm saying? Let's go.
What you gonna do?
Hey, let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 하면 리듬에 맞춰 흔들어란 말해. 시끄럽지 우리
Oh yeah.
Well, Young nearly getting smacked in the face by his pop filter. Okay, there's something really interesting there with San's vocals. Let me go back.
Bro, don't you realize what I'm saying? Let's go.
What you gonna do?
Hey, let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 하면.
Okay, so if you listen to his voice, he doesn't have much resonance in the lower part of his vocals. Da 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 dum dum. It's all higher, even when he's singing relatively low notes. But if you contrast that to San, when he starts singing, there's this really warm, dark, chocolatey, warm, dark, yummy resonance that he has in his lower notes. And you can hear the contrast between Mingi and San, and then Woo-young when he comes in after that. Just listen.
Don't you want about me? I got time, but it's not for you, bro. Don't you realize what I'm saying?
And Hongjoon's is even more.
Hey, let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 하면 리듬에 맞춰
Listen to how heavy that bar is. And then Woo-young is kind of in Yo-sang as well.
결사던 모든 걸 불어내 멈추지 살순 없어. Bring back microphone 볼륨 올려. Sit back and relax everybody. 느껴봐라 이게 우리 소리야. Come on everybody. Dingo. Slow it down, make it bouncy. 지금부터 fly. 좀 다른 spicy. 청양고추 vibe. If you wanna know how, I can show you right now.
Not lying. Okay. Hongjoon's vocals. When I talk about a singer having a nasal sound, it's not a bad thing. I'm not talking about them sounding like they have a blocked nose. No. I'm talking about where they focus their voice when they're singing. If the focus is very forward and very bright, it comes from here in your face. And that is quite a nasal sound. Hongjoon has a very nasal sound. And it makes his voice quite distinct in the group because of how exaggerated it is with him. And he exaggerates that tonal quality, that sound, on purpose. He can sing without it, but he intentionally exaggerates it, especially in his rap. And there's a lot of higher focus, higher overtones in his vocals. If you go back,
느껴봐라 이게 우리 소리야. Come on everybody. Dingo. Slow it down, make it bouncy. 지금부터 fly. 좀 다른 spicy. 청양고추 vibe. If you wanna know how, I can show
Yeah,
you
it's
right now.
particularly-
내 만들지 bouncy.
I'm going to over-exaggerate it, but if you wanna know how, I can show you right now. That kind of sound. The other thing that he does here, which is incredibly impressive, is not breathe. He doesn't breathe. What he does with that line is all of the words and syllables run together. Na 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 na. There is no space for him to breathe there. If he was doing it, if you wanna know how, I can show you right now, there would be space for him to sneak a breath, top up his air a little bit to help him make it to the end of the phrase. But because he's running all of the words together, there isn't that space and he can't do that. So he's singing a really, really, really long phrase, musical phrase, on one breath. And at the end of it, you can hear he kind of gasps. It's an audible sound, and that's partially for effect and just partially because he was running out of breath.
Slow it down, make it bouncy. 지금부터 fly.
Breath.
좀 spicy. 청양고추
No breath.
If you wanna know how, I can show you right now. 오래 만들지 bouncy.
There's the next line. Like, he does a lot of one breath.
If you wanna know how, I can show you right now.
고개를 bounce bounce 하늘 위로 fly fly.
여덟 소년의 첫 항해가 시작된 곡입니다. ATEEZ의 데뷔곡 Hierarchy. 즐겨주세요. Will you join us?
Beat me up, 우린 요동치는 춤춰 every day.
Okay, so I love where they've got the timing of that. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
Beat me up, 우린 요동치는 춤춰 every
It's
day.
on the 3.
Ready set, get ready set. 점점 발을 굴려 아주 뜨겁게.
해가 떨어져도 go.
Yeah, better than get it. I feel like somebody who get it. 우주에 닿을 때까지 발을 들고 세. 아쉬운 피처 face 좀 다출라지 gotta pass. Yeah, 끝없이 향해 let it go to till the end.
이제 낯을 올려라. 어두운 맘을 걷어라. 어디든지 we can go. 우린 모두 돼. 우릴 따라오면 돼.
So there's a great example of something that I was thinking about earlier when I was talking about Sun's vocals. I will get into Jongho's vocals even more as particular bits and pieces come up. But he has a very bright sound, also quite nasal and lots of upper overtones. Very, very bright. Sun has a much darker, warmer sound. Lots of lower overtones, resonance kind of in the throat and in the chest rather than in the face and the head. And it reminds me a lot of Ayin and Sungmin from Stray Kids because they have a similar dynamic. Ayin's vocals do tend to be warmer and darker like Sun's, and Sungmin's are very, very bright like Jongho's. That's a part I was waiting for. Okay, let's go back. That's perfect. Okay, Jongho's nose. When he's singing, he does a lot of this. Lots and lots and lots of this. And what that's doing is lifting everything in his face and his sinuses, all of these muscles. So the soft palate is lifted, the cheeks are lifted, and he's using that scrunch as a focusing mechanism and method. He could probably do it without the scrunch, but it's an indication and a reminder to himself of where and how to place the sound. And that's an indication of quite a bright sound because he's focusing it here. Lino also does a nose scrunch when he's doing higher notes with the Stray Kids stuff, and later Seonghwa has one in Utopia. He also has a bit of a nose scrunch, but da 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 instead of da 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 da, it creates that very sharp, bright sound. And yeah, that's something that Jongho does. And if you watch him now, you'll see throughout, whenever he's making that very bright sound, and often with higher notes, he's got that scrunch. There we go, Sam as well. He also had a brighter section of sound and also the scrunch. That brass bum 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 bum. It's really nice. So the sound here is really, really simple. Just listening to the backing track. So you go from quite a lot going on. Yeah, lots of synths. You've got those snares picking up. You've got a riser going in the back there. And it builds and builds and builds and crashes. You get a bit of a brass into there. And then you've just got that it's almost a rim tap percussion, that descending, and that heavy beat, doom da, with the vocals over the top. Very simple, very minimal. And then you have this brass coming in, more drums, so it's building.
Running up 정상을 향해 turn it up.
Track weight going
멈추지 않아 rush 세상을 뒤집을 듯이 그누구도 찾지 못한 곳으로 맞춰져 이제 떠나자 저 곳으로
Listen to their blend here.
어서 떠나자 찾아 떠나자 every day every night.
I mentioned earlier the contrast in the vocal texture between Yunho Mingi and Hongjun. Now what we're getting there is almost the opposite. You are getting blend, and that is something that you really want in sung unison sections of a piece of music. Between parts where you have solo voices, you want there to be differences in texture. You want to be able to identify the individual voice. But when people are singing together as a group, you don't want the individual voices to stick out the whole time and clash and all of that. You want everything to blend nicely to give you a nice sound that's cohesive, it's together, it doesn't have any funny bits, and they do that fantastically here. The longer you sing with other people in a specific group, so with one group of people, but in a group setting with other people in general, the better your blend tends to get. And what blend essentially is matching your vowels, so making sure that your vowel sounds and your modifications are all the same, and matching your tone to blend nicely. When you sing a pitch, you have the pitch of your vocals, and then you have overtones going up. Where those overtones are and where they sit is what creates the distinct quality of a particular instrument or a particular voice. With the voice, you can change that sound. Most of the instruments you can't really. A violin sounds like a violin, sounds like a violin. The instruments that you can change it slightly tend to be brass and wind, because you can change the armature, the shape of the space in the back of your mouth, which changes the sound. For the most part, the reason an instrument sounds like that particular instrument is because of the overtones that it has on every note. Vocals do that as well, and overtones can clash, and you don't want that happening if you're singing together, because then it just sounds off and weird and like somebody is doing something wrong. It can be absolutely awful. You want everybody to match their sound and blend, and if you get really, really good at it, sometimes you cannot tell how many voices there are, which is what you want. So if you have 2 or 3 people whose blend is really, really, really good, a lot of the time it'll sound like you have one voice, if they're exactly in time with their consonants and pronunciation and everything. When you listen to ATEEZ in this unison section, you can't tell exactly how many voices are singing. There aren't individual voices that are sticking out the whole time like a sore thumb. They're all blending to create a cohesive sound, and it's very nice to hear. It's very good. It's very well done, and you can tell that they've been singing together for a long time. And I know not all of them are singing together, but even so. Harmonies track back there. And again, the contrast of hey, that section, the timing in there is so interesting, and it confused me so much the first couple of times I listened to it, because they don't come in when you expect them to, and it almost sounds like they've snuck in a bar of a different count. So if the song is in 4/4, so it almost sounds like they've stuck in either a 2/4 or a 3/4 bar there, because it sounds disjointed. It sounds like it comes in the wrong place, but they haven't. What they've done is they're coming in on the 3rd beat of the bar, so it's not even an upbeat, which is the beat before the start of the next bar. It's 2 beats before, which halfway through the bar you wouldn't think it's that odd, but it doesn't sound right. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was wrong, they don't come in on 3, they come in on 2, which is why it's so disjointed, because you expect to come in on the 1st beat of the bar, or halfway through the bar, which is the 3rd beat of the bar, or sometimes on the upbeat, the beat before, but then you come in on the 2nd beat of the bar and all of a sudden it's chaos. The 2nd beat of the bar is quite a tricky one, especially if you've got your emphasis of your beat on 1 and 3, which they do there. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why it sounds so loud. It confused me so much. Jongho's ad-libs are so good.
누구도 막지 못해 날 막는다면 no way.
자, 보물을 찾았으니 다 같이 건배해볼까요? 앤서입니다.
건배하자 like a thunder.
You can hear that warm, rich sound. Sounds getting really well.
모두 자들 머리 위로 세상 어디에서든 보일 수 있게.
I got the answer. 손을 펴 시선을 위로 세워 잘 두어 마주보면 세워 끝이 뭐 시작이 모든 패턴에 기억해 밖에부터 함께 쓰면 돼.
Burn burn 타올라야지 더 계속해 부르지 펴 매일이 피날레 쇼. 내일이 마치 end of the world 열기 죽이지만 oxygen fire 노원하면 푸른빛 띄우니까.
Okay, that vocalized breath when they're talking about oxygen, but also the contrast between Mingi and Hongjun's vocals. They are the two that do most of the rapping, and they have such contrasting sounds that play off each other so well. Yeah, just an observation. That's just really cool. So if we go back to Mingi, yeah, so low, quite very gravelly sound.
Burn burn 타올라야지 더 계속해 부르지 펴 매일이
And
피날레
then
쇼.
Hongjun has the much
내일이 마치
brighter
end of the world 열기 죽이지만 oxygen fire 노원하면 푸른빛 띄우니까. 불타는 태양과 덮치고
lovely falsetto, quite breathy. Contrasted by the low coming in. So Seonghwa's section there with that really soft, breathy falsetto, then contrasted by Jongho coming in with, it's almost got a chorus effect on the vocals, so I don't know if it's the others in the recording singing in the back or if they've layered his voice or what. But you've got that contrast, and then here to Woo-young as well. Oh, people are staring at me now. One of my favorite things about watching K-pop groups perform together is, I don't want to call it necessarily the chemistry, but the cohesion that they have. You can see that they know each other so well, because there's all of these little inside jokes. All they have to do is share a look with one another and somebody will start laughing, or they poke at somebody or whatever. And that's something that comes from spending so much time living and working with and performing with one group of people. And yeah, you get your little inside jokes, your little funny bits and pieces that you do with each other, and it's always so much fun to see all of the, it gives you a little bit of a glimpse behind the scenes that you don't really get generally. Nice growl at the end from Sun.
모두 여기로
was laughing there, but it was very musical and very fitting.
모두 여기로
Could have been in the track.
함께라면 no down 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 손을 들어라 소리 질러라 터질 듯한 시작을 위해 저기 저 달빛을 부를 때 세상을 덮칠 듯 때문에 우리 손을 잡고 날아가 Yes sir 승부의 응답 Say my name say my name say my name 불러 불러 Say my name say my name
Something more sung rather than rap
나를
from
불러줘
me.
나를 불러줘 내 손을 잡아봐 내 눈을 바라봐 내 이름은 내 두더지 내 이름은 내 두더지 나를 불러줘 나를 불러줘 내 손을 잡아봐 내 눈을 바라봐
Trap beat there.
알고 있잖아 지금 넌 네가 느끼고 있는 이 떨림을 내 옆으로 와네 자리로 와 우린 뜨겁기 위해서 어떤 것도 필요 없어 달라붙자 높이 타올라라 버텨 Ready now firebomb bam 지금 우리 마치
Jongho's really high. There. You can see that he is holding on to that last note. He is fighting with it. It's not coming out particularly cleanly and everything. You can hear there's a little bit of a buzz, a little bit of grittiness in it. He was going to hit that note and he was not going to let it go, and he was going to make it come out and hold it for the duration as long as he needed to, and he did, and he did really well. Also, that's high. I don't have my piano here with me, but I know he gets up to an A at some point, I think. This is one of my favorites of theirs. Okay, Hyosung has also got a very dark, rich, warm sound in his vocals. He's got a lot of space at the back of his throat. Dum dum da dum. Instead of da 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 dum. You can hear the difference. One has smaller space in the back of the throat, but more focus and more resonance here in the nose. And the other one has more space at the back of the throat, and the resonance is further back in the head. And Hyosung definitely has the warmer, richer sound. I had this song stuck in my head the other day, and it wasn't just this. My brain decided to make this a mashup with EXO's Growl. My scoop. Okay, it's here, and then my brain was going da da dum da da dum da da dum dum because wait. It's that view of all of them dancing. Jongho is definitely the biggest perpetrator of dancing when there's vocal focus going on here. And honestly, I do not blame him. I would not be able to stand still either. I cannot stand still. The muscle memory from dancing something over and over and over again so many times never leaves you. Things that I was dancing 15 years ago, the song will come on and my whole body's like wants to go. You can feel it. And like there are certain songs, like a G6, I cannot hear that without, now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6, like automatically done. And like you see it in these guys too. Something starts, the beat goes, they hear it, and the whole body just automatically moves. It's just a thing that we do. This little chest part is nice.
어떤 운명이 날 너에게 끌어당기는 건지 네 숨이 내게 닿는다 숨도 내게 닿을까
내 숨이 멎는다 해도 다음 꿈에서라도 봐줘 임마
미쳐가 너도 마주친 순간에 멈출 수가 없이 끝이 없는 갈등을 너의 곁에 잡으려 Oh déjà vu 미쳐가 I want you so bad oh
미쳐가 우린 나의 도화지 속 작은 위로가 대가고만 해
착각인지 병인지
Wait. Okay, just going back a little bit, something that's really interesting here, as the camera pans across, it's just a little pronunciation note, because V is not really a sound that the Korean language uses. They tend to use a B instead. It's kind of like European Spanish and Catalan in particular uses a B instead of a V in a lot of places. So if you're singing a Spanish piece, you have to check which version of Spanish are you singing and then write in B's over the V's in several places. It's like instead of vamos, vamos. It's just the difference, and you can see your son singing along with, I don't know if it's Jongho who's singing the words there, but you can very clearly see the O déjà vu with a B for Bravo, not a V. So V for Victor. Son.
I want you so bad oh
미쳐가 우린 나의 도화지 속 작은 위로가 대가고만 해
착각인지 병인지 혼란스럽지 내 맘이 널 원하는 거 본능인 거야 Get this up Woo!
That was much more of
Let's get it now
Let's go Captain Let's go I got it bad 판을 뒤집어 This game one chance 바로 제가 mad day Like that 제꼭 강렬한 yes game No
I really
lies
enjoy
나를
this
따라
one.
쉽게
All the different sounds.
지가 와 제가 또
We got the giggle. I really enjoy Gorilla as a song because of the interesting bits and pieces that they add. It's got that trap beat and feel the whole way through, and then you get towards the end and suddenly there's electric guitar and like metal screaming going on in the background. It's like, hello, okay. Okay. Why not?
Woo! Yay! Let's get it now. Let's go, Captain.
But I suppose the
Let's
whole
go.
sound is very
I
distorted.
got it back. 판을 뒤집어 that's game one chance 바로 제가 mad day. Like that. 찍고 강렬한 yes game no next
But
나를
yeah,
따라
fuck
쉽게.
that.
지금
Wait. I missed the other thing again.
one chance 바로 제가 mad day. Like that. 찍고 강렬한 yes game no next 나를 따라 쉽게.
Yeah, we do get a little bit of
사라지는 이모션 정은 빛을 잃어가 웃음은 통제가 되어 감각만 남은 채 참을 수 없어.
contrast and good use of it there again. So we've got that and the building harmonies. So they start out with and they layer all of those on top of each other and add some distortion to the sound with processing and things afterwards. Then we get the very much rougher and grittier vocals of Seonghwa changing to San, who gives us quite light and quiet falsetto, which is a big contrast to how aggressive the rest of the sound in the song has been so far, because Gorilla is an aggressive sound. Yeah. And it's a transition into a less aggressive sound for this vocal.
ATEEZ, make a move. 춤을 춰 break that wall 우리 필로 여기저기 울려 퍼져 guerrilla. This is so show. 그냥 keep it low. 모두 다 눈 뜰 때까지 춤을 춰 break that wall 우리 필로 여기저기 울려 퍼져 guerrilla. This is hi-fi. 나를 gonna ride. 세상을 get what we are.
Here's your guitar.
춤을 춰 break that wall 우리 필로 세상을 바꾸위야 the guerrillas. Oh my gorillas. 네.
More comments on Jongho's vocals. Something I really like in that section is his scoops. So you can hear how solid his foundation is. He has got such an incredibly strong support system for his voice. And I don't think that there's any better showcase than his breaking of apples while singing, and you do not hear his voice budge at all. That is because his core and his pelvic floor and all of the muscles that he uses to support his breath and his voice are immensely strong and immensely stable, and that's what gives his voice both its power and its stability. And he has got quite an agile voice as well, so his voice is really just absolutely amazing. Something there in that little bit that is such a good display of a combination of power, support and control is those little glissando bits, the scooped bits. Dum, 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 dum. You can hear all three of the notes in that slide cleanly, but he also doesn't break them apart. Dum, 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 da, da, dum, dum. So if I go back to before those little scoops that he does, just listen to them, because everything is so well connected. There's no breaks in between, but you can also hear each individual note. The tuning is good, the control is good. It's quite high, and he's putting a lot of force and power into it. Like,
네, 다음 곡은 에이티즈의 귀여운 뽀짝한 매력을 느낄 수 있는 이터널 선샤인입니다. 그럼 지금
such
시작합니다.
a complete change in feel.
남길 수 있다면 넌 어떤 순간을 기억하고 싶니? 난 하나의 기억 남긴다면
Much breathier, softer sound in all of the vocals. Hey, we gotta fix that. There we go. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Nice mouthpiece
스쳐가는 시간 속 너와 내가 만들어갈 끝나지 않을 줄
They keep bumping the microphones for various things. Woo-young did it earlier when his mic nearly hit him in the face. Yunho had it here where he was going to do time on his wrist and he bumped the thing, but you don't hear it in the mics. Like if I bump my mic, you hear that. They have got shock mounts on their mics, which minimizes and reduces the percussive noise. I don't have a shock mount on my mic.
어둠마저 잠든 밤 영원의 태양을 띄워 Alright, turn it up, let's make it louder Can't stop the feeling 찬란하게 반짝임을 느낀 순간 You know it Don't stop believing 영원보다 멀리 기억하고 싶어 We shine like total sunshine so bright. We shine like eternal sunshine. We shine like eternal sunshine.
Lots of references in there that similar to Michael Jackson. The Don't Stop the Feeling and Don't Stop Believing. Lovely falsetto.
꿈속의 dreamer 두려움과 환희의 바다 I saw it felt in my dream today I'm sure that we will find someday 흐릿한 잔상을 쫓아가며 앨범만의 시그를 가는 sketchman 모두의 눈에도 I'm fine 좀 멀다고 해도 I stay calm 존재 자체가 없는 세계라면 I'm making close to alright Tell me the truth
Your song also with the dancing.
꿈을 꿔서 우리 기다린다고 멈추지 않아 절대 Oh every day, every night Here we go, go, go Every day, every night Here we go, go, go Every day, every night Let us go, go, go 꿈이란 모두가 비웃어도 멈출 순 없어 난 내게 진실을 끌고 We can touch utopia. We can reach the utopia. Every day, every night, we keep going on.
Seonghwa's vocals. I think he's got the biggest vocal range in ATEEZ. Because he sings a lot of low stuff with really good sound and strength. It's not like he's struggling to get it. And then the higher, like, that's a high note. That's a very, very high note. I think I figured it out on the piano and it was an A. And like A above the treble clef stave, like high notes. And he does them in such a powerful, full voice and a clean sound. Like, he's not straining to get those notes at all. He even has vibrato on them. You can't put vibrato on a note that you're straining to sing. It doesn't work. Vibrato comes when your voice is relaxed. So, there's a couple of things there with that. If you watch him breathe before that, he breathes and then his shoulders drop and everything here drops. And that is pushing the air down and activating the support muscles in the abdomen and the pelvis to give him all of the extra help and support and everything that he needs to reach those notes. The other thing that he does is he drops his jaw, so he has a really, really wide mouth when he's singing it. And that is another thing. You can't just drop your jaw and tuck it backwards. You have to drop your jaw and bring it forwards. And then the last thing that he's doing is he's lifting his soft palate and his cheeks. And you can see that because you can see his top teeth. And he's got a little bit of a smile. So I'm trying to be quiet because there's other people in the accommodation and I'm not at home. But you get a really strong, powerful sound from that if you do it in that way. And he has that absolutely down. It's amazing. Let us go back and admire that some more. Oh, and then that little nose scrunch to get the focus, because that's a very high focus point. You're wanting to focus the sound really up, 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 up. It feels like the sound is coming up and out.
Oh, every day, every night, here we go, go, go.
Another person's voice to talk about. Woo-young's voice is very interesting because he alternates between having a little bit of grit and gravel in his voice and having quite a clean sound. And he does tend to sing in a bit of a lower tessitura overall. So tessitura is the range in which your voice sits comfortably, or the range of notes in a song. So Jongho has a relatively high tessitura. Sun's got quite a big tessitura as well, because he sings lower stuff and higher stuff. Seonghwa's tessitura is just massive compared to all of the others. Hongjoon's is very high. He's got quite a high voice.
Every day, every night, here we go, go, go.
Every
day, every night, let us go, go, go. 우리란 모두가 비웃어도 멈출 순 없어 난 내게 진실을 끌고.
We can touch utopia. We can reach the utopia.
Every day, every night, we keep going on.
자, 그러면 좀 더 부들부들하게, 야들야들하게, 야간비에.
아직 난 어린 걸지 몰라. 까만 밤 하늘을 맴돌아. 저급함이 만들어 놓은 남기려는 노래를 들어. 떨어지는 waterfall.
Yeosang's vocals, in terms of the sound, he's got a very, very, very clean sound. There is very little breathiness in his voice. He is using the exact amount of air that he needs to get the sound out, and no more. There's no funny little airy bits coming through. It's something I really struggle with, adding airiness to my voice, because I've trained my voice specifically not to do it. Trying to give an example is very difficult. There we go. Compared to the one had air coming through and creating a hushing noise, and the other didn't. And the one without air is the more efficient use of the vocal cords. You're using only as much air as you need to make the sound, and no more. And Hyosung has that down pat. His vocals are so clean. No air, just sound. So there's breathiness in Seonghwa's vocals there.
떨어지네 waterfall 끝이 없는 freefall
거친 바람에 다친 맘에
세상은 내게 추락만을 택하라는 듯 끝없는 어둠만 이 끝에 우린 어디로 어떤 모습으로 무엇이 되야만 하나 단지 난 겨우 나이게도 벅찬 나인데 듣고 있나요 누군가 그저 안아줄 순 없나 우린 어디로 어떤 모습으로 무엇이 되야만 하나 또난
밤에 한 줄기 별을 따라와 내 죽은 넘어져 부딪혀 포기할까 생각했지만 너 알아 너 절상같이 집어쳐 부딪히고 치는 삶에서 도망가자 빨리
wow, 알긴 뭘 알아 내 고통은 딱 나만 알지 누가 알아 아픔 따윈 넘살이라고 불러 Mayday 마주본 세상이 난 괴로워
너무 yeah 이 모든 게 두렵기만 해 별 수 없이 잡을 수 없기에 나를 보며 자신을
나타내 끝에 우린 어떨지 그 누구도 모를걸 조마심과 뒤틀린 떨림 So I gotta let it go So I gotta let it go Maybe we're living younger That's why we fever Maybe we're living younger That's why we fever So I gotta let it go
네 좋습니다. 다음 앨범은 저희 신곡 수록곡인데요. 곧 나올 미니 10집으로 컴백하니까요. 재밌게 들어주세요. 오케이, shout out to Cake Family.
Oh my god.
에이틴
All
사랑해요.
of them cringing. I love
Been
this song.
searching for an empty box That's what I need 내 방 서랍 속에 남긴 너의 기억이 비 내리는 날처럼 만들어 여전히 이젠 보내야 할 것 같아 I'll never miss you I'll never miss you And I'll never miss you I'll never miss you I gotta move on 가득하는 저 쌓인 먼지도
All of them adding a lot of the breathy tones in their voice here to make it
멈춰버린
soft.
내 방에 가둬둔 기억 이젠
Listen
보내려고 해
intentionally, you can add
창문을 열어
it
I
to
gotta move on It's time to move on 영원할 것 같던 그 빛나던 추억 시간 속에 묻고서 흘려보낼게 알아 나만 잡고 있던 당길 수 없는 시리였단 걸 말야 If you are feeling the same way we should better than no one time together Leave everything behind Hope you come across something more than better Feeling the same way we should better than no one time together Leave everything behind Hope you come across something more than better
The vocals in this are just
뭐, 이
gorgeous.
미친놈.
아니 아직까지도 안 일어난 사람들이 있다고요?
Get up,
아니 홍주 형이 얘기하는데
get up,
빠르게.
get up. Jingle. Let's go.
I need to kick the 막이 go in the show. 나라까지 go. 야기고 미친 품. 아야야야 춤만 춰. 막 go in the show. 부르마 make them run. 야기게 미친 품.
Another fix song I
Put up the drop it, tell me to pump it. Whoa, 5대6 대 돌아봤냐? 사인 내 주간 round 세계 콤박에서 너가 펄럭이는 my girlfriend.
내버려둬 I don't mind. 꼴상 나오면 눈 감아. Time is ticking 넌 빨라.
Nice trading of the vocal lines.
이제 불렀더라. 격하게 털어. Get my fire. 그냥 마음대로 불러줘. We go. I need to kick the drum. My ego in the show. 달나라까지 go. 야 이거 미친 폼. 아야야야 춤만 춰. My ego in the show. 부르마 make them run.
That was a really good example of the mic not picking up what's happening behind it. Sun going behind the mic, and you kind of pick it up a little bit because it's quite close to the microphone, but the sound is barely there.
달나라까지 go. 야 이거 미친 폼. 아야야야 춤만 춰. My ego in the show. 부르마 make them run. 자기게 미친.
네, 다음은 미니 10집 앨범 타이틀곡 워크입니다. 다들 적기라고 돈 많이 버세요. 파이팅입니다.
We wish.
Let's go.
We wish.
Gotta work.
Ooh, nice sax there.
Gotta work, gotta make that money, make purse. Yes. Gotta focus, so I make it burn. Give a whiplash when they see me earn. Gotta work. Gotta make that money, make
Not
purse.
sax.
Gotta
It's
focus,
bobo
so I
and
make it
clarinet.
burn. Gotta get that credit, get purse. Gotta work.
눈 뜨면 착착 준비되는 골든 플레이 이제만 도착 LA to Tokyo
차에 맞게 도는 시계 클래식 타입. 내가 움직이면 뒤따르지 girlies.
어디 가도 튀어나와 breaking news. 하루 종일 내 노래가 나와 radio. 있는 두음 춤을 추는 flamingo. 허나 내 시간은 금이라서 adios. 간섭뿐이 스텝으로 24시간
Reggaeton beat.
관심
Some.
없지 난 침묵도 보는 no 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 no.
Gotta work, gotta make that money, make purse. Gotta focus, so I make it burn.
Give a real rush when they see me Gotta work.
Gotta make that money, make purse. Gotta focus, so I make it burn. Gotta get that credit, get burned. Gotta work. 클락 틱틱 서둘러. 금밥한 남자 빠져줘. 우린 지금 하늘자 위로.
This is one you just want to
You can
dance
find me
to.
where I still.
Gotta make
Nice.
that money, make purr. Hey.
And match that reggaeton beat.
Money, make
You can
purr.
see all of it.
Gotta make that money, make purr.
Oh yeah. Give it up,
Money, make purr.
Put him up now. Hey.
Sam, what are you doing?
Make
That
that
was
money, make.
almost like a bachata.
네, 지금까지 에이티즈였습니다. 둘, 셋.
에피소드 감사합니다.
안녕.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. What up?
That was. Oh, thank goodness.
아니 우리 에이티즈인데
That was a very abrupt.
근데 멋을 알려드려야 될 거 아니에요?
그거.
음악 주세요.
하고 해야지, 빨리 하자.
음악 주세요. Hey, how you feeling out there?
Oh yeah.
ATEEZ present. Go in the mud, go in the mud, go in the mud, go in the mud.
So that. The sound of that sample. Dum, 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 da, 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 dum, dum. That is a very Middle Eastern sound, and very, very chromatic. Lots of sharps and flats.
음악 주세요. Hey, how you feeling out there?
Oh yeah.
Jongho is very.
ATEEZ present. Go in the mud, go
이게 바로 무신기라.
아따고만 해라 너희들은 뭐 알고 와나 보지럽다 건들 거틀려 먹은 보다니 빈수라를 골로 요란하다 그래 꼬상하지
저거 지표에 인사는 90도. Yes sir, yes sir. 지금 내려. 발걸음은 나 똥디리럼 똥디리럼도.
우린 뜨겁게
What was that
살아
footwork?
발걸음은
인사는 90도
Yes sir, yes sir. 지금 내려. 발걸음은 나 똥디리럼 똥디리럼도.
우린 뜨겁게 살아 어느 누구보다도 험블한 신념을 지켜 누구든지 거위 모셔 저새 날개로 비춘 Keep it up,
Give it up, give it up, give it up now. 이런 게 바로 무신기라.
Come on class
자 새겨들었다.
Listen clearly, taking out the monster.
ATEEZ power. 더리럼 더리럼 더리더럼 더리럼 더리더리더럼 더리럼 더리럼 더리더럼.
이런 게 바로 딩고 킬링 보이스입니다.
감사합니다.
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 That was amazing. I loved that. That was so much fun. Just going around in my head now. I love how vocal focused, I suppose, ATEEZ is. They have lots and lots and lots of harmonies and layers in their vocal parts. In terms of individual vocals, Jongho is definitely the strongest vocalist of the group. His tone is very bright, very clean, and that man has so much power. There's a video somewhere of Pink singing with somebody standing on her stomach. I would not be surprised if Jongho's support and abdominal muscles were fine enough that he would be able to do that. I would not be surprised in the slightest. He and Sun actually have a very similar sound in terms of power, but Sun's voice tends to be much warmer and richer, especially in the lower registers. Wooyoung's interesting because he's a bit of a chameleon, a bit of a vocal chameleon, because he can change how his voice sounds quite a lot, and he does so. He adds and takes away rasp and breathiness quite a lot, and he also tends to be comfortable in kind of the mid-registers. It doesn't sing very low, doesn't sing very high, it sings in the middle, but he's got a very stable, versatile voice. Yeosang's vocals, he has got a very nice lower register and a very clean sound. I don't think he's got a particularly powerful voice, but he's got a good voice, and the quality of the sound that he makes is fantastic. Hongjoon's voice, I think he's got the highest tessitura naturally of the group, so his voice is naturally the highest, just in speaking and everything in general. He tends to have a very bright and quite nasal sound, both when he sings and when he raps, but more with his rapping. He intentionally adds that in. Yunho is another one who's got kind of a middle ground, versatile voice. He can do all sorts of things, from low notes to pretty high notes. He's a jack of all trades. He can do everything. And also, all of them have got such a nice sound. None of them are bad singers. Not that I would expect any K-pop idol to be a bad singer, but they're all good, really good. Mingyu doesn't really sing much. He raps a lot, and I think one of the reasons that he doesn't sing is because of that gravelly tone and sound in his voice. When he does, it's generally lower stuff, and it's sung in a spoken cadence. So he doesn't have lots of melodic ups and downs, but what he does do is very, very, very strong, and he provides a sound that nobody else in the group has, with that roughness, that rasp. And then Seonghwa with his incredible range from the top to the bottom and everything in between, adds breath, takes away breath. I didn't hear him do anything particularly raspy. I think there was some where there was a little bit of grit in his voice, but he is extremely versatile. He just goes from one side of the scale to the other. And, I mean, Utopia, come on. Come on. Like, I know professional countertenors who can't do that. Like, yeah. It's crazy. I know professional countertenors who would absolutely kill to be able to do that. I think I actually enjoyed that more than I enjoy their recorded album tracks, because it's so vocal heavy, so vocal focused. But that's also why I absolutely love Killing Voice, is I am a vocalist. I like hearing the vocals. I like hearing the singing. It's why I love live performances when they get the mix right, because you can hear what's going on. And as a singer, for me, that is the best thing, right? That is all I have to say about that particular one. If you are interested in other kinds of analysis and things like this, I have a whole channel full of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. And I also have a Patreon. There's a lot of stuff on there that I can't upload to YouTube because of copyright. So things like Mama Awards show performances and the Golden Disc Awards performance that Stray Kids did at the beginning of the year, which I think is the best live stage I have ever seen them do. It's amazing. That is all on there. There will eventually be another version of this on there, because the first time I watched that, I got to editing and I looked at it and I went, hang on, those names aren't right. If you want to see bits and pieces of ATEEZ absolutely blowing my mind, go and find that. Sorry about the wrong names, but you will be able to go and find that on Patreon. It'll be up there at some point. I have a bunch of interesting things coming up, so stay tuned. One of which is I am visiting my parents, and my brother is back from overseas where he works in a theater. He said he will do a video with me. So he is a sound and lighting specialist, but has also been a deputy theater manager, and. So if it's stuff to do with staging and the technical side of things, he probably knows it. I was thinking, choose one ATEEZ performance and one Stray Kids performance from Kingdom, and I'll sit with him and go through them. The more effects and lighting and crazies, the better. We have about a week until I see him, so leave your suggestions and things in the comments. If you want to see stuff that I haven't done, let me know, because I will add it to my list of things to do, and the more people want to see something, the more likely it is to get done sooner. So if you really, really, really want to see something, tell me. That's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be doing more stuff like this in the future. Hi. Say hi to the people.
Hey people.
The elusive husband has finally made an appearance.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.